Hey, everyone. I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you've had a wonderful week. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, welcome back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. For those of you who tune in or are tuning in for the very first time today, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here. We are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And for those of you who are watching the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, be sure to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the page. So, hey, everybody, thanks so much for joining here. Let me know in the comments where you may be tuning in from today. Today, I am in, I was going to say warm and sunny, but it's actually been raining most of today. But I reside in the Tampa Bay area of Florida. But let me know where you are tuning in from here today in the chat. And if you're new to Mental Health Moment and wondering what in the world is Mental Health Moment is all about how do you work on becoming the best version of yourself so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for the people around you. So we're here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And again, let me know where you're tuning in from here today in the chat. Thanks again for those who are starting to join here. A couple of quick announcements before I start today's mental health moment. So there, so for many of you know who are not new to mental health moment, that I speak in a lot of different places. When the event is open to the public, I always promise to invite you all. If it is closed, of course, unfortunately, then I can't. If it's a private event, but there is an event coming up. But as soon as I get all the details, I'll definitely share it with you all to see if you are available to come out there and support. But again, thanks for those who are starting to join here. Let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. Also, in case you have not heard, I've just released a new ebook. Take a minute. For those of you who are not new to Mental Health Moment, you know that I've preached for a gazillion years, it feels like, about taking a minute for ourselves a day. So you can check that out on Amazon. It's, like I said, an ebook format. It's literally one single thing to think about doing every single day. It takes 60 seconds or less, right? There's 365 of them in there. You just go to the date, start the day. It's never too late to really think about your self-care. Maybe you need a reset. Maybe you need a recharge. Maybe you're at the start line. Maybe you're in the middle of this journey. Wherever you're at, it's all good. But it is important for you to be checking in with yourself. It is important for you to be taking at a minimum a minute, right? 60 seconds a day. So again, it's called Take a Minute. You can look for Take a Minute, Dr. Nikisha Hammond, and you'll find it on Amazon. It is an ebook format to make it nice and easy for you. So be sure to check that out. Actually, let me just put it here. I'll put it here in the chat really quickly so that you guys can see that. And I do apologize for my LinkedIn family. I am so sorry. I don't know why this platform will not post on LinkedIn, but it does post on YouTube and also Facebook. But I don't know why my comments don't go through. But nonetheless, it's called Take a Minute. Dr. Nikisha Hammond on Amazon. Very not hard to miss. Okay, I think. Well, also, I'll announce it probably the next week or two. There's gonna be some things that I'll be doing for Mental Health Awareness Month, which is in May, which is rapidly approaching, which is crazy. So I will definitely let you all know of that in the next week or so. Okay, those are all my announcements. Again, thanks for those who are starting to join here. Let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat, even though my comments sometimes come in late, and I'm so sorry. I don't know why technology wants to do what it does. Sometimes I see it at the beginning of the live. Sometimes it takes a little while to play catch up. But again, let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. Okay, so today's mental health moment is really about, every mental health moment is about our growth. But especially when you grow, it's really, really important to think about what is it that you need to let go of, right? Because we're all in different phases of our lives. We're all in different seasons. For some of you, you're like in a great, amazing season in your life. For some of you, it is difficult. For some of you, you're in between, right? But no matter what, When we start to have the mindset, that's why I wrote the book on mindset training. When we start to have the mindset, when we start to make the shifts in our mindset, then we start to see the transformation in our lives, right? Then we start to see ourselves get healthier, hopefully physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips today on really thinking about how do you start to let go, right? And for some of you, when I say that, what's so interesting is when I say let go, you know exactly what I'm talking about for you. Because like I said, all of us are at different seasons. For some of you, maybe you need a little bit more time to have more clarity of what that could mean for you. And it's all good either way. Whether you know immediately or you're like, yep, Dr. Hammond, that's what I need to let go of, or whether you're like, you know what, let me take some time for me to to get some more clarity to figure out what that may be. Right. George is in the house. Welcome. Chandler, Arizona's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Okay, so the first thing when we're thinking about letting go is shocker. I talk about this at length, I feel like on mental health moment, but is our awareness, right? We like very, very easy to be distracted by what is happening around us, what is happening in the world, what is happening in your friends group, your family group, your work group, if you're in school, whatever it is you're doing in your life, in your own personal life. It's very easy to get highly distracted by everything going on around you and start to neglect yourself instead of taking some time, maybe it's a minute, right? But instead of taking some time for you to work on your self awareness, right? Because we can't, it's really hard to make changes, right? If you're here, it's because you want to be a better version of yourself, but it's very hard to make changes when you don't know and you're not aware of what is going on with you. And again, it's very easy to gloss over what is truly going on with you. Chester, Pennsylvania is in the house. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. So again, thinking about for you, like what are the patterns that are showing up? What is it right now that like how are you doing? Right? Is there a particular area of your life you like, you know what, I know I need to let go, whether it's something physically for you, whether it's mentally for you, emotionally for you, spiritually for you. Like what is it for you that maybe you have certain blocks? Maybe it's a mental block that you need to work on letting go of, or maybe it's a block like a person you need to reduce the amount of time you spend with them, or maybe it's a coworker that you need to, reduce a little bit if you can, right? Reduce some interactions with that said person, or whatever that looks like for you. Where is it that you need to start letting go? And again, sometimes it takes you being in silence with yourself, for those of you who believe in prayer, or if you believe in silence, or if you believe in meditation, or whatever it is for you, if you need to just take a walk outside, whatever it is for you that you need to say, you know what, let me take this pause. Let me work on being aware of what is happening in my life. What is it that I need? And what do I need to let go of today? Right? Like really sitting with yourself and asking yourself that question. Um, Good evening to you as well. Maitland's in the house. Welcome, Maitland. Florida's in the house. Hey, Florida. Texas is in the house. North Carolina. Welcome, welcome. And again, thanks for joining here. So much for joining here is what I was trying to say. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Today we're talking about how to let go. For some of us, we need to let go of some old patterns in our thinking. We've talked a lot on mental health moment about negative self-talk, right? Like there's a lot of things that we may need to just work on letting go of. The second thing, so the first thing today is to really think about your self-awareness. The fact like the fact that you can first even take the mental shift for you to say, you know what, I need to be more aware of what is happening in my life. And I don't just mean like like your day to day, right? Like we know our routines or day to day or what's on the calendar. I mean truly knowing and understanding yourself, right? Like really having like uh, some time for you. And I know we're all busy. I know that's the most common thing. Like we all think we're so incredibly busy, which we are, but also taking that time that you need for you to understand where you are at, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, right? That's step one. The second tip I want to remind you of today, it's actually a reminder, is that a lot of times you may be telling yourself whatever negative habit you may have. You may be like, oh, that's just how I am. Right. Like that's a good excuse sometimes for us not to change. Like just to be like, oh, that's just how I am. I've always been this way. or I'm too old to change. Like all those sorts of things that we say that are not, they're really not true. When you really think about it, it's not really true. It's just an excuse that we tell ourselves. You always can have an opportunity to change. I don't care if you are 95 years old listening to this, right? It's not that you're too old to change. It's not, oh, that's the way I've always been. You that is not a mindset that you always have to cling and hold on to, especially when you're trying to let go of certain habits that you need to work on, right? It's actually the opposite, to remind yourself, yes, you can change. Does it take time to change things? Of course. Does it take time to change your thinking and your habits and your actions? Of course. But again, it's the first step is being in the mindset to do it, right? So work on not telling yourself things like that. That's how I always have been. Well, that's how you always have been, but maybe it's time for you to change. Right? You are allowed to change. You're allowed to thrive. You are allowed to be a better version of yourself. You're allowed to be happier. You're you deserve to have joy. You deserve to be emotionally healthy. You deserve those things. And sometimes it does take, though, right, certain steps in the right direction, and understanding that you deserve those things. And maybe, and that's okay. Talk about this a lot on Mental Health Moment too, but maybe if you're in a season right now where you have to work on your worthiness for whatever reason, for whatever you may have done, somebody did to you, something did or did not happen the way you wanted to go, whatever was the reason, maybe you have to sit with yourself and be working on your level of worthiness to understand that you deserve these things. Okay, maybe that's your season. I don't know. I'm not psychic. But I'm just saying. And I also always want to remind you all, you don't have to always do this alone. So this process, this wellness journey that we're on. So it may be you may be on a solo journey, which is okay. You're like, you know what? I'm going to take the time for me. I'm going to, whatever it is, I'm going to do my meditation or my silent time or my prayer time or whatever it is that you need for you to do. Maybe that's your journey and that's enough. Maybe for you, you need the help of a mental health professional, which is okay. Like, right? Like maybe it's just too much. It's too much to bear. You need a coach, you need a mental health professional, or whomever else you need, family member, friend, somebody else to help you through this process. That is okay. That is allowed, right? The biggest thing is for you, what is it that's going to help you be better, right? Because it's not just about you. It is about you, but it's not just only about you. When you become a better version of yourself, you're also helping the people around you who want to see a better version, the best version of you. Trust me, they want to see that too, right? So you're also helping them as well. Um, Savor the flavor. I love it. Someone said, yes, yes. So again, let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat now that I can actually see the chat. I couldn't see it for some reason at the beginning of the live because this technology does what it wants to do. But again, if you're just tuning in, we're talking today about a couple of tips on how to work on letting things go. And also, I never ever want to minimize when it comes to our mental health and wellness. Some things, situations, memories, traumas, or whatever it is, are harder than others to let go. Okay. So, things happen to us in our lives. Like I mentioned before, sometimes if some type of trauma you're holding on to, memories or whatever it is, no, it's not exactly like I'll be all right in a week necessarily for certain things. Some things just take more time to heal from. But most importantly is, are you giving yourself permission to enter into this healing journey? Whatever this healing journey looks like for you, are you giving yourself permission to take that step? If it's a mental health professional, if it's a coach, if it's reaching out to a friend, family member, coworker, person at a place of worship, spending time with yourself, whatever it is that looks like, right? Are you giving yourself permission to be in a new mindset? All right. Because that, again, so for some of you, it's the start of the journey, which is all good. For some of you, are on the continuation. Okay, third tip. Huntsville, Alabama is in the house. Welcome, welcome. So the third reminder today is that through this journey, if you haven't already. So for those of you who are like, just it's funny because I see a lot of your names. And thank you, by the way, for coming back to Mental Health Moment. Not for me, for you, right? To work on you. But it's so interesting because in this journey of personal growth and transformation, there I promise you, if you haven't already, there will be a time where you feel discomfort, where you feel like giving up, where you feel like giving up on your wellness goals. Do you wonder why you're like, why are you doing this anyway? Maybe you don't need to change, right? Like all these things start to come to mind. Keep in mind if you haven't already, when you get to that point of feeling that discomfort, feeling tired sometimes. It's hard sometimes to change, and you're like, "I don't feel like changing for the better," right? Or I don't feel like doing whatever it is for you that you needed for your physical growth or mental growth, spiritual, emotional growth. Sometimes you get tired. Sometimes you get overwhelmed. But or sometimes you just feel like giving up. But when you get to that point, I want you to remind yourself that it is so normal to feel discomfort. It is so normal to feel overwhelmed in the journey, especially for some of you all. And either way is good. But for some of you, you're taking baby steps. Great. Some of you are taking leaps. You did like a 180, like you're like a whole new person, Maybe you started this new year strong and you're like, I have all these, goals, all these different things. I'm trying to better myself. And you did a 180, right? Like when that happens, especially for my leapers, I guess I'll call you guys, right? Just leaping into a whole new version of you. People are going to be like, wait, who? Like, who is this person? Right? Like some people aren't going to recognize you. And I don't mean physically, but I mean, they're like, you're different, right? You probably heard that before. You're different now. Which is not necessarily a bad thing if you've changed for the better. But during that time, what happens sometimes too is even this new, better version of yourself, you start to question things. You're like, wait a minute, what? Like, is it okay to be this new version of yourself? Or again, just having that level of discomfort to get there in the journey, or having some hesitation when you are there. What's odd is that we we make all these goals. We want to be different versions of ourselves, but sometimes when we actually get there or we're close to being there, then we start to question. But it really is a good idea, right? For us to be better versions and healthier versions of ourselves. Like those are allowed. And again, going back to for some of you, and it's okay, it's a worthiness conversation, right? So that's a whole nother mental health moment. But it is important to really be thinking about, um, really be remembering that again, the discomfort is okay. It is normal. It is normal. It is normal. It is normal to be overwhelmed. It is normal. Let's see who we got here. Sugarland, Texas. Just southwest of Houston, USA is in the house. Welcome. I love the whole explanation because I did not know where that was, but I'm glad that you shared that where it's at. I know where Houston is, but I did not know where Sugarland, Texas was. But welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. If you're just tuning in, we're about to go to the last tip of the day, but it's all good. You can, and for those of you who, well, first of all, for those of you who are just tuning in, hi, welcome. Today we're talking about how to work on letting go, right? In our journey of personal transformation, growth, there comes a time where we have to really pause, reset, and think about what is it we need to let go. Also, if you're just tuning in now, because I'm about to go through the fourth tip of the day, but if you missed some of them, you can always watch the replays on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page. So subscribe to the page. You'll know when the replays are there, or if you just want to scroll through and be nosy, which is all good, and see for the last couple of years, different replays, you can do that too. But mental health moment, Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube, they're always there. New York City's in the house. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. Okay, so last tip of the day. The other thing when you think about letting go is that, so I'll just give you an example. Maybe you're letting go of a bad habit that you have, whatever that bad habit is, right? Sometimes we think about letting go of certain things. We think about letting go of a bad habit, let's say, but sometimes you need to replace it, right? You can also replace it with something that is healthier, right? We don't have to just start. When I think of like a mental health detox, sometimes we don't have to just start to remove all these things in our lives or situations or habits and not necessarily replace them. So, for example, I'll give you an example of social media. So, if you know that you are in certain feeds that are so negative or so toxic, or they're, what do they call it? Doom scrolling now. Like it's just bringing you down, right? And you need to let go, meaning some of it you need to just clean out who you're following. Like you need to just clean out what is it that you're consuming? What is it that you're seeing? And not just social media, but just in your life in general. But we'll use social media as an example. You can also replace that, right? You can also put in the content and accounts who are positive, who are uplifting to you, whatever whomever that may be, who are uplifting to you, who are motivating you. Like put that in your feed as well, right? And the same thing goes, that's an example for social media, but the same thing goes in our lives too. Again, there's certain people maybe in different situations of your life that you may be like, you know what? Let me work on reducing the amount of time that I am around said individual, right? And then think about working on who, like maybe there's other individuals that you're like, you know what, this person's a little bit more positive. This person's a little bit more uplifting. This person is helping me in some way in my life, right? You need to insert those individuals, for example, right? So again, I just want you to think about when you start to remove certain things. When you again, we're talking about letting go, and sometimes it's physically letting go of things. I don't know, maybe you need to declutter your house or whatever it is, but a lot of times it's mentally letting go and it's emotionally letting go and sometimes it's spiritually letting go. Um but also remembering that you can bring things in as well, right? It goes both ways. Hi from Aurora, Colorado. Welcome, welcome. Stockton, California's in the house. Welcome. Hey, Boston, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So today again, we've been talking about how do you think about working on letting things go. If you missed today's mental health moment, you can always catch the YouTube. But I did want to reiterate, it really, really does start with a level of self-awareness, you all. If it's hard to know what to let go of when we're not checking in with ourselves, when you're not asking yourself, how am I doing? How am I feeling? What do I need physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally? Right? Like when we're not in that mode, it's really hard to know what to let go of. But again, when you're in, and this is a practice to start, but when you're in the practice of the check-ins, when you're in the practice of your own self-awareness, what are your patterns? Maybe you start to catch yourself in certain negative self-talk, and you're like, "Dang, I didn't know I talk like that." Actually, I've heard that a lot from people. When I've talked to different groups, when I talk to different groups and different like organizations, corporations about burnout prevention, I hear that quite a bit. Actually, I've heard a lot of epiphanies when it comes to negative self-talk. Because when you really take the time to pause and think about the things you're saying to yourself, you might catch yourself in a pattern, and then you're like, "Wait, why would I be saying that kind of thing?" Right? And you have to work on changing it. And it's not an overnight process, but you work on changing those types of things that you're telling yourself. So it's very possible. It is very, very, very possible for you. I want to remind you of that. I'm proud of you for being here. Again, not for me, for you. Um, I always love to hear your wins. I always love to see you guys tune in and work on being better versions of yourselves. Again, it's not just for you, it's for you and it's for everybody else around you too. Someone else, I'm really appreciating this. I burnt out trying to multitask through every goal and it pushed me to build a framework I now call honor mode. I love it. Honoring your limits and nervous system is a part of how you lead. It's your reminder that it's normal to feel discomfort and overwhelm, which is exactly why I joined today. I love that. And thank you again. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for joining. But it absolutely is. I mean, it's so oh God, man, we talked about a mental health moment before, but I will, since you brought that up about nervous system, it's so important, you all. Like there's so much research out there about our nervous systems, meaning it is not healthy to live in fight or flight mode where you're always revved up, you're always stressed out. It takes a toll on you physically and mentally to do that. So again, checking in with yourself, right? Where you're at. Are you overwhelmed? Do you need to put in more self-care in your life right now? Which is okay, right? I know personally for myself, these next couple months are so crazy. I think honestly probably through the end of the summer, like it's insane. Like my schedule is insane, but because I know that, I know this is just a very busy, hectic season. Because I know that, I'm like, okay, well then I can't there it can't be an excuse of like, well, I don't have time to take care of myself. Actually, I used to have that excuse, y'all. Some of you all know my journey. I used to have that excuse. I don't have that anymore. My new mindset is like, no, I have to take care of myself. There is no way on God's green earth that I can do the crazy busy hectic schedule that I have and not take care of myself. No. Like there's there There is no way. Like I would hit burnout. I teach burnout prevention. Hello. No, I'm just playing. Um, no, but I would hit burnout. Many of us would hit burnout when we don't take care of ourselves, right? So again, like you were mentioning about nervous system is so important to be taking your deep breaths. It's so important, especially when you catch yourself. If you're stressing out physically or mentally or wherever it is you're at, like working on almost like grounding yourself, working on taking the deep breaths, take a step outside, get your mind and body back to a calmer place, right? Because it's again, it's for your health. It's not even just for mental health anymore, it's for physical health too. I can go on and on about the research, but okay. Someone said these are some things I need to work on. I love it. I love to hear their awareness. And actually, I'm glad someone said that because honestly, every single one of us have things to work on in our lives, right? We all have things. It's never like I said, if you're 95 years old watching this, I don't know. It's never there's never really an endpoint. Like there's always, which is a good thing. There's always things we can work on to improve our lives. Like that's not a bad thing. It's just about being aware of it. And again, there's different seasons. Sometimes we need the baby steps. Sometimes we need to take some leaps, and it's all good either way. Someone said happy Tuesday. Yes. Thank you. We tend to forget about our inner awareness while helping others. Absolutely. Especially for those of you who are watching this, especially if you are a giver, especially if you love to help people. I talk to a lot of people also because I'm in the helping profession, and so are many people I know. Really extreme, even more important to be making sure that you're aware of your own inner journey, your inner thoughts, taking care of yourself because it can get it's really easy to be taking care of everybody else, especially for caregivers. We talked about that in a couple mental health moments ago, but especially for you all, it's really important for you to be monitoring how you're doing as well, because you may tend to just be worrying about everybody else and then neglecting yourselves. We don't want to do that. Hi from Chicago. Welcome. Burnout is self abuse. You know what? And it's so hard when it comes to burnout. When it comes to burnout, it can sneak up on you sometimes. Like you don't even realize until you take the pause and you're like, wait a minute. Like, why am I so stressed out? Right? Like burnout is it's a sneaky thing sometimes. Sometimes you see it, you see the signs, and sometimes by the time you get there, you're so overwhelmed physically, emotionally, or mentally. And it's a common thing actually to hit burnout. The good news is though, it's preventable. That's a good news. Letting go of a bad manager slash management and feeling imposter syndrome due to those individuals. Imposter syndrome. We got to talk about that more on mental health moment. Let me write that down. We're gonna have to do a whole mental health moment about that one. I'm gonna write that down, you all, because I think, gosh, it's been a while since we talked about that. Let's talk about that. That's a good one. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm writing it down to remind myself. We're gonna talk about imposter syndrome because that is that deserves a whole mental health moment. Very common though, by the way. So don't beat yourself up. It's a very common phenomenon. Helping everyone but helping yourself. Yes, for many of us, we are guilty of it, but it's a matter again of getting into the right mindset, right, and making those changes. Someone said, "I finally got tired of being Cinderella before she found her man." So funny. Oh my gosh, Atlanta, Georgia is present. I love it. Someone said that is me, the giver and the fixer. You know what? And you know, gosh, it's a beautiful thing to give. Like it's a beautiful thing. It's something I mean, I wrote about it in my book. Like there's a whole chapter on like the importance of giving back. That's something I stand on, believe in. Please be a giver. Please help people around you as much as you can. And also make sure that you are helping yourself, right? We've all heard the saying you can't pour from an empty cup. That is so true now more than ever. I feel like the world is so fast paced now. Um just there's so much going on. We have access. I mean, there's so much, I don't know, like the world's moving really fast sometimes, right? We got the AI, we got what robots on the way or like whatever's happening. Right? Like there's just so many things. We have our social media. We're so interconnected now where there's pros and cons of that. A lot happening. So it can again get really busy, really hectic, and it's very easy for us to neglect ourselves, help everyone else around us, and forget about ourselves. So yes, definitely making sure that we're checking in with ourselves again too. Someone said that's so true. Yes. Okay. So so I will so thank you all again for joining today's mental health moment. Again, if you just tuned in and you're like, I'm about to watch it, we're about to wrap up, but you can always watch the replays on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page. So the replays will always be on there. And we are here live, in case you're new to today's mental health moment. We are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Have an amazing week. Be blessed. Take care of yourself. Check in with yourself. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye, you guys.